This is the Scoop Slammed Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are here reviewing a lot of wrestling. It's been a long weekend. We're sorry. We were going to drop this one a little earlier, but some stuff happened. New job, all that jazz. We'll get into that a little bit. But WWE presented Payback this weekend. AEW presented All Out. It was Labor Day weekend, so long weekend. College football's back. NFL is back. So a lot going on. Like I said, I got a job change. But before we get too far into anything, let me introduce...
Micah? Did you blow my spot? What did you cut out?
I did. I blew your spot.
What'd you do, man?
I had something in my mind and just nothing came out.
Well, it's great to be back here with you, buddy.
Ryan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mike. Another day scooping, slamming. Very glorious day over here at my apartment on this glorious Friday night. Because, you know, we got rid of cancer, Micah. We got rid of one Phil Brooks, which I do like to pat myself on the back because I did predict this in my Scoopy yearly predictions. I did predict this. So go ahead, give me my flowers, Micah.
Well, hold on now. We're going to have to split these flowers because somehow we were both right on complete opposite ends of the spectrum of the same thing.
Yeah, but still a glorious day that we don't have to deal with one Phil Brooks anymore.
The dark cloud over our podcast has been lifted. We're free of this affliction, Ryan. We don't have to talk about CM Punk anymore.
It's a little bittersweet though at the same time, Micah, because I did have fun, you know, crapping all over Phil Brooks every podcast, and I might miss that.
Oh, trust me, they're not letting it go. He somehow, even though he got fired, and they've had a pay-per-view, 2 shows, they're gonna have another one tomorrow night. He's still all over the headlines because they know that that's their cash cow. All the little newsletters, fake wrestling journalists, that's their cash cow. So I bet they're pissed that Punk got released.
Yeah, get some clicks. But Punk did get fired on his day off, which is very impressive.
At least it wasn't his wedding day, like some would fire him.
I just happened to be, you know, the paperwork was a little late getting to his residence, and it just happened to fall on his wedding day. It happens, Micah. You never got terminated on your wedding day, Micah?
No, I didn't. I was still working at Walmart.
Well, you know.
Well, speaking of work, again, we had talked about releasing this one on Wednesday. I got a new job that I'm going to be starting, and everything was very abrupt. But yeah, I got the call, had to do orientation, drug test, the whole 9 yards. So that delayed things. Plus, I have a real hard time watching pay-per-views if I don't watch them live, especially this one. I had zero desire to watch All Out.
Yeah. The whole thing felt like just Dynamite without commercials. Like most of the matches had no build, and you know it's what you would expect from a AEW pay-per-view. I don't know. It was weird, but we'll get to it.
Their heart was back, Ryan. They just wanted it more, Ryan.
That crowd didn't want more because they were sitting on their hands for 80% of the night.
Well, anyways, we're here Friday night. We're recording it. It'll come out tomorrow, so I apologize for the delay that is on me. We're not going to review any more of what happened this past week, including the Punk stuff. We will deep dive that next week. It's just been a crazy week, and it was enough to get me to watch these. I have I texted you this earlier. I get a real bad, what's the word? I get burnt out every Labor Day weekend because there's over 20 hours of wrestling to watch. And doing anything for 20 hours and not getting paid for it, you're not going to want to do it anymore.
And then all the other news and stuff with Punk. And it's 2 years in a row this is happening over Labor Day.
Yeah. So, again, we'll get into all that next week. We're going to do a deep dive on Punk. We may even end up doing a deep dive on his entire AEW career and seeing where the wheels fell off. But we'll plan for that later. Chad Gable versus Gunther from Raw this past week. We'll talk about that next week. So just bear with us. We are only a 2-man crew, and we do have full-time jobs and prior commitments outside of this. Regardless, WWE held Payback this weekend, and it was a 3-hour pay-per-view, thank God. And they started it off with Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel cage match, which I thought was kind of interesting to start the show. Not start the show. I hope they wouldn't do that. To start the show with a steel cage match, especially for a feud that a lot of people haven't really been interested in. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised at the way this one ended up. If this is your first time listening to the Scoop Slam podcast, we do a scoops and slams format. Scoops are the positives, slams are the negatives. So for your scoops for this match, Ryan, Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel cage match, what you got?
I'll just hit you with a double stack right off the bat, and I'll save my last scoop for the aftermath of the match. But I thought Becky hit a nice superplex on Trish. I thought that looked nice from the top rope. You don't really see a lot of top rope superplexes from the ladies, and they did it here. Overall, the match though, man, they worked hard in it. Trish and Becky. I don't know where I got Triple H from. Trish and Becky, they had the working boots on. They worked hard. Like you said, people weren't really that invested in the storyline. So to see that the crowd got on their side throughout the match, because they were kind of silent when it first started, but they ended up making a lot of noise. So I thought that added to the match. The hotness of the crowd, Micah, which we got a lot of that here for the Pittsburgh crowd, which is not, I can't say the same for the Chicago crowd we got the night after, but nice superplex, and the crowd was really hot. That's my double stack for you. What you got?
Well, they were hot for meat, but we'll get there. They were hot for what they wanted to entertain themselves.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but I'll talk about that later in the Miro match.
A couple scoops I had. The Widow's Peak by Trish Stratus I thought looked really nice, and a cool throwback to, obviously, Victoria. So yeah. I thought all that was just a nice throw in, and Trish actually hit it pretty well. A little later in the match, there was a hematoma on Trish's forehead, and a lot of times, which we actually ended up having it on this pay-per-view, surprisingly. But in AEW, you get blood a lot more. But I think the hematoma basically accomplishes the same thing. And so I thought it really added to the violence of the match. Because a lot of times in WWE, and I would think this is one of the biggest differences between them and AEW, the violence isn't necessarily shown as well, or it more feels like something chaotic can happen on AEW, whereas WWE feels very sanitized. So I just thought this was a really cool tie-in that obviously I don't think was intentional, but added to the match.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the last thing I had was where Trish was on top of the cage and she was about to climb out, and Becky pushed her back almost out of the cage, and Trish's knees were caught in the cage. I don't know how she did it, especially
she's flexible. She has a yoga studio, right? I think.
You might be right. Is that a first-hand account?
Oh, yeah, I've been there a few times.
But I don't know, man. As like a 21-year-old guy, I could not imagine doing that when I'm in my 40s. I just feel like my MCL and my ACL would shred. So I don't know. It made me cringe, but again, it added to the match. So I don't. I thought it was a neat spot that you don't see often, especially from the guys. So overall, they had a couple good spots. I'll go ahead and say my overall thoughts for the match because I only had a couple slams and we both kind of shared them. You know, really good match to start it off. It sucks that the feud has drug on this long, been
Yeah.
really bad in the fans' eyes. But if this is the end of it, you know what they always say, leave it on a good note, and it's what they'll remember, and that's what they did.
I think they would have had this on SummerSlam. It probably would have been the best match on SummerSlam.
Yeah, because SummerSlam kind of drug.
Yeah, and there really wasn't a match that I would ever go back and watch. So yeah, Trish, she had one of her best matches since she's came back. I still think her match with Charlotte that she had at, I think it was SummerSlam one year, maybe that was a little better. But yeah, Becky, she worked well with Trish. Becky worked well with Lita in that Saudi Arabia match she had with her about a year or two ago. So Becky, she can work. I'm still looking forward to the inevitable match with Rhea down the road. So yeah, man, you ain't got any more scoops?
No, you can go ahead with your last one.
Okay, I'm glad that they finished the breakup with Zoe and Trish. They kind of they struck when the iron was hot because there's no way that the crowd would have made any noise if that breakup would have happened on a random Raw. There's no way because the crowd's been dead for pretty much all of their segments. And right, they did it at the right moment because the Pittsburgh crowd wanted to cheer. And Zoe Stark is on her own now. Let's see what she does on her own. I'm still not a huge fan of her work. Still got to get it on the mic. But in ring, she's fine. But yeah, that was my last scoop, man. I'm glad they did the breakup here.
Zoe's got kind of an odd. She looks
Face.
like an MMA fighter. Yeah, not that wouldn't be mean, but he has like an MMA fighter build. But I agree. I think the breakup well timed, and it'll do more for Zoe now.
Yeah.
If this was Tony, he would have put them together 2 weeks ago and had them break up at the pay-per-view. But they've been together 4 months, and I feel like this has pretty much ran its course. So I wholeheartedly agree with you. This was the time to.
Yeah. They got out when the getting was good.
As for the slams, I got one, you got one. I'll take the lead on this one. While I agree with you that her turning was a good thing, I didn't like the fact that she got involved in the cage match, especially because this is a common thing that happens now in AEW, WWE. It's not company specific, but somebody always gets in the cage, and it bothers me because that's the entire point of the cage.
Yeah, that's thing that's been going on for years.
And I understand that, like, when Kane did it to Undertaker, Shawn, that, yes, it was a big moment, and it was great, and I have no issue with that. But also, that added to the character of Kane, that he was able to rip that door off the hinge. But now it's just like, oh, I got bolt cutters, or, oh, referee, unlock this, or I'll beat you up. Like, it shouldn't be like that anymore. If Mark Henry runs down and rips the door off the steel cage, okay, or he rips the chain off, cool. Even then, I don't love it, but that makes more sense, I guess. But for her to just run up in there, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it was. I didn't like it either, and I think we had a little too much interference on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, especially with the Judgment Day match that was following.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's all I got for slams.
Man, Michael Cole. I like Michael Cole. He's called the majority of the wrestling I've watched over the last 25 years of my life, Micah. But he gets a little ridiculous on his calls. Man, he said this could be a match of the year candidate. What? Match of the night? Sure. Match of the year? Michael, no. So you just ruined it for me. You killed the immersion I had for this match. I didn't even want to rank it high because he said that.
You immediately sent me a text. Oh, this match is actually really good. I'm kind of surprised. Like 3 minutes later. And Michael Cole just ruined it for me. And I was like, dang.
That's how I felt, man. Can't. Oh, man. He's been good since Vince stepped down. Yeah, he's not hearing an old man screaming in his ear constantly. So he's been decent or good most nights. But there's times where he gets a little, come on now.
And it's not just a woman thing. Because Rhea and Charlotte is in my match of the year candidates. But the feud for this has been rotten. And there's just so many other better matches this year.
Yeah.
Maybe a contender for best women's match of the year, but for overall pro wrestling as a whole, yeah, this one ain't cracking top 25.
No, it might get top 30, maybe.
Maybe I'd have to
top
look.
30. Top 30 of the last month, yeah.
Well, moving on, John Cena made, well, not his return, but he was at Backlash. What the crap am I on about? Got my calendar all screwed up. He was at Payback, and he came out to, introduce himself to the crowd, do his typical, "Aw shucks, John" gimmick, and The Miz interrupts him.
I like that.
I didn't like this.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to necessarily say that it's a scoop or a slam because there's not like just a ton to review. But The Miz was so corny here. Like, he was at his absolute worst.
I thought Cena was worse, honestly.
Well, see, I think I don't know. It was like they brought the worst out of each other because The Miz has reminded me what he can do, this whole LA Knight thing. And then when he comes out here and joking around, I'm not going to say it like ruined the match for me or anything, but I guess it just took me out of like the goodwill that The Miz got back with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's a Cena thing because he did this during his prime in like 2010. He would always crack joke. He would never get mad at anybody. He still doesn't. I never understood that. Why does John never? He never gets mad. If you say something to him, point out the truth, he'll just smile at you and no sell it. Like he always did that, and it made me irritated watching the product. Cause bro, can you take anything serious?
I can. Please vision with me. He does that he smiles, he ducks his head and fixes his hat, and then he
fine speech.
Yeah. And then he says something and he like raises his hand up to the crowd. Come on, or something like that. That's how he will end his next line.
Yeah, and they announced him as the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Let the fans say that. Don't make the announcers say that.
I don't know. Even, I'm not going to say this never happened, but with like Tom Brady playing or LeBron playing, they might say, which they wouldn't announce him as this,
no.
But the announcers or like the commentators might say like, arguably he is one of the greatest of all time, or he may be the greatest of all. So like when Cole says that, like in my opinion, that's fine. But for the ring announcer to announce him as that, come on.
It's official now.
Yeah. And I respect the legend of John Cena, but I'm sorry, he's no Stone Cold, he's no Rock, he's no Hogan.
Yeah. people usually got their nostalgia glasses on when they speak of John Cena nowadays, but during the time, I'm old enough to remember the hate this man was getting online and live in the arenas.
Yep.
And I'm still not I'm not gonna crown him as the greatest of all time. I'm not. I just can't. He drove a lot of
And
people away.
and the fact that nobody ever got over him but for Punk, and that's because Punk could like out meta him.
Huh? He got his win back though.
Yeah, well, you make dang sure of that. Yeah, that Cody gimmick, brother. But anyways, we'll move on to the match that followed. Cena was the special guest referee for
Wrestling.
LA Knight versus The Miz. don't you point out my flaws. I know I stuttered.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know it's bad tonight. I don't know why. I guess because
It's late.
you know how I get.
Yeah, late night scoop.
We tend to do this. Is it really late night scoops if we do late night scoops all the time? Isn't it then just scoops?
Well, yeah, it doesn't sound as cool when we just call it scoops. Late night scoop.
But it's daylight now, Ryan. The dark cloud has been lifted over AEW, don't you know?
Cancer has been cured, Micah.
God. Anyways, LA Knight versus The Miz. Probably one of the best storylines going into this show, at least that I enjoy. I enjoy this one more than Seth versus Nakamura, and like I said, Miz got some goodwill back with me. The promos have been solid. They've been pretty real. So I was excited for this. I'll start us off with the scoop since you started us off for the last match. Obviously, two different levels, but the way that in the 90s they started to get with Stone Cold, where they were riding on his every move, punches, the kicks, the taunts, they're kind of getting that way with LA Knight. Every breath he takes, the people are on the edge of their seat, and they're and they're doing his little catchphrase. He's probably one of the most over guys of like the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's organic too. It's organic, which you don't see a lot nowadays.
He definitely deserves it, especially like I'm not gonna say he's at Danielson levels yet, but if it morphed into that, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
No, not at all. And like I said, I think I said it on one of these podcasts we had done so many, that I wouldn't be surprised if the crowd started to turn on Cody in favor of LA Knight during the Royal Rumble season.
You know, I could see it. That's the danger with stretching this out to WrestleMania 40 because LA Knight is over, and there is a world where LA Knight gets thrown out of the Rumble, and they force LA Knight into the main event again. Like, I wouldn't be shocked.
That would be something, though. And apparently, he just signed a new 5-year deal. That's why they were so. Well, apparently, I forget where I read this from, but he signed a new 5-year deal. That's why WWE was so hesitant to give him that push earlier on, like Money in the Bank and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
Which, yeah, it makes sense. I didn't really think about it at the time, but
I didn't know how long his deal was or when it was coming up either. So, yeah, I mean, the fact that they delayed it, then they kind of excuse for it, but I'm glad that he re-signed, especially for 5 years, because if it was like 2, I don't know that they would go all the way with him. But with it being 5, they know they've got. I mean, he's 41.
I think he's 40.
So in today's day and age, he's got bare minimum 5 years left. He can probably go till 48 or 50 because I don't think he's got like that many miles on his body. But yeah, I think overall he's getting to that level, and I'm interested to see where this keeps going. And for my last scoop, I thought this was a good win for LA Knight, a former world champion with one of the greatest of all time, pretty much endorsing him at the end. all around, this does a lot for him, and I'm excited to keep following him.
Yeah, it was I like the fact that Cena didn't really draw too much attention in this match. You know, he let LA Knight and Miz do their thing in the ring. And then after the match, he raised LA Knight's hand. And then he kind of rolled out of the ring when LA Knight won, which I did like because he let LA Knight have the whole ring to himself. So I did enjoy that part of Cena's involvement.
Yeah, he didn't really. I mean, other than like a couple holds where they were doing it like over 5 seconds or whatever, and then they might stare down. It wasn't constant. And like you said, the rolling out, I honestly didn't notice it, but now that you mention it, yeah, that's good on Cena to do that.
Yeah, good little touch. I'm sure if there was the Hulkster, you would have had to pose with him in the ring first.
They would have done the handshake, brother.
Yeah, I thought Knight hit a pretty cool modified tornado DDT. That was the only really move that stood out to me in this match because LA Knight in the ring, he's fine. He's not Daniel Bryan 2013 in the ring, but he doesn't need to be. The crowd enjoys what he does, and I mean, he does it well. Everything that he does in the ring, it doesn't look sloppy or phony. So, I thought he had pretty cool tornado DDT. Did you see that? What I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to like write every single thing down because then I don't want us to keep overlapping each other. But I really did like that.
Yeah.
You know, I guess in today's day and age, especially what we were reading earlier before we were recording, some people value matches and everything, but LA Knight is really proving that you don't have to be the greatest worker in the ring. You don't have to be, just this all-American Olympic wrestler and I can do all these German suplexes and all these holds. At the end of the day...
Whoa. Barry and Kurt Angle, brother? What's going on here?
No, I'm just saying.
What Kurt Angle do?
They want everybody to be these just ultra talented chain wrestlers.
Work rate.
Yes, at the end of the day, it's about characters and people buying into you as a person. And LA Knight is proving that that is still the formula. I am so much more invested in LA Knight than 90% of the AEW roster. And that's because they think that wrestling and work rate is that's the be all end all. It's pro wrestling. It's entertainment. And when you really strip everything away at bare bones, it's athletic theater. So what do you... Oh, God. Wrestling.
Oh, man. You hit a certain ceiling when you can just do... You can do all the wrestling moves, sure. But I can't show my neighbor down the street a great wrestling match. He's not going to watch that. But I can show him a Steve Austin promo. I can show him a Dusty Rhodes promo. And they can identify with that. They can't identify with a bunch of guys doing tumbling and somersaults all over the place. You know what I mean, man? Sometimes all you need is a good catchphrase.
Yep. And LA Knight's getting over with the casual fan. Like, there's people in my surrounding area that don't really watch wrestling, but have been like, oh yeah, I've heard of that LA Knight guy. Good. And they like him, and he also looks like a wrestler instead of somebody's stepchild who's getting beat in the main event, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
As for slams, we both got one apiece, so I'll let you go ahead and go.
I kind of had a little... Well, I'll just go, man. I thought the camera missed LA Knight's kip up. He did a kip up that I've never seen him do, and the camera just kind of pans away. Did he mess up? Or I don't even know. It looked cool with the 1 second they showed it. You know what I'm talking about, Micah?
I honestly don't remember it, but I mean, I guess not because they got away from it.
I think Miz was setting up for like a 5-knuckle shuffle or something. He was taunting John Cena.
Oh,
and Yeah, he did a little kip up, man.
Yeah.
Why didn't he show it? What the heck? I didn't get I didn't even replay it. Like, I don't know if he messed up or just negligence on the camera crew. That was awful, terrible.
I'm hoping he didn't mess up because I don't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe they were focused more on Cena than him. But now that you bring it up, you don't see him do that very often. So you would think it would
Yeah,
be kind of a big spot for him.
the crowd popped.
Yeah.
We didn't see it.
And I liked that little back and forth there. I didn't necessarily write down as a scoop, but Miz trying to do the 5-knuckle shuffle and then LA Knight kipping up, dropping him down, and then kind of doing elbow-esque move was, a neat throwback. Especially because Miz was involved in that Cena Rock rivalry.
And he was on the Rock's reality show back in the day. LA Knight was.
Oh, yeah. He is in everything.
Yes, yeah. People started I think it was trending on TikTok a couple weeks ago where they dug up old stuff LA Knight's done.
Dude, he's the Rock of infomercials.
Bro has been everywhere.
He getting a bag though, I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, he's never shy about working. I mean, he's got a job every time.
My last slam, and it's not like a huge one, but I think this went just a little too long. The fans started getting kind of worn down because obviously, I mean, they just saw Cena, then LA Knight interrupted, and the match was really cooking to begin with. And neither of these guys are really known. I mean, we just talked about it, but neither of these guys are really known for work rate. I think this could have shaved 3 minutes and still been really good and probably even better for not being so.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love Miz. He's probably one of my favorites that I've been watching over the last 20 years. But we got to be real here. We got to be real here, Micah. Easy for me to say. Yeah, easy for me to say. The man is, because I just looked this up. I looked this up because I didn't want to tell you the wrong thing. He's won, The Miz, I'm talking about. The Miz has won one match over his last 37 matches.
Oh
and LA Knight had to go. He went 15 minutes with a jobber, basically. Remember Snoop Dogg beat him in 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was in a suit.
Well, you remember Pat McAfee beat him the night before in 30 seconds?
Well, he was in a suit.
Okay, all right. So, was he in suits in all these matches, Micah? Because he lost 36 of them.
Well, a mental suit.
Mental suit. Well, I'm just saying, I completely understand why it was so long. I'm sure they wanted to spotlight LA Knight, and Cena was there, so they wanted him to be out there for a while. But Miz has been a jobber to the stars for a very long time now. And a good 6 or 7 minutes probably would have done this justice, but they chose to go 15 minutes, which is whatever.
Who's the one guy he beat?
Take a guess.
Tozawa?
No, Tozawa beat him.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Can I know the month?
It was June.
Dang. Corbin?
No.
All right, just tell me. I have no idea.
It was Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Was it
actually
by DQ?
No, it was a no disqualification match, and Bronson Reed jumped Ciampa, and that feud went nowhere. By the way, that feud went nowhere.
What is Ciampa doing now?
I don't see him on the Hulu version. I don't know.
Interesting.
They don't show him on Hulu.
Well, bring back, because he was actually one of the most interesting things on Raw to me. And they ought to just pair him and Gargano together. I mean, it would put something in the tag team division.
I think they've been building that up on their own social media. A reunion with those two, but It's amazing, man. Triple H got into power, and then people say, "Oh, Johnny Gargano's gonna be treated like John Cena on the main roster." And then that's one of the guys he neglects the most is like Gargano and Ciampa and Karrion Cross. These guys are neglected so much, and they're all Triple H guys.
Well, let's be real with ourselves here. Johnny Gargano done anything to get himself over?
Well, Micah, you didn't see those great matches in NXT he had with Adam Cole? What the hell was that?
Oh, I'm sorry though. Fell asleep.
Okay.
No, for the record, I have not seen those matches, nor do I
Okay.
care to go watch them.
It's Finisher kick out this, which a lot of AEW fans like, apparently.
No, I was about to say we'll get to a couple of those later.
Yeah.
Moving on, Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. I mean, this one's touch and go. The baseball slide into the tornado DDT was the only scoop I had for it, and my overall thought is there wasn't much here. I wonder what their plan is. Belt off Ray, and then I wonder what they're going to do with Theory. I'm assuming they're going to turn Theory babyface because that kind of seems like the logical thing to do, but the logical thing isn't always what they do.
I think they're going to go with a pairing of Theory and Grayson Waller, unfortunately. Micah.
God, sorry, I had to pause on that one.
Yeah. I like Theory, and Waller they like Waller, so I'm sure they'll have stuff for those guys to do together. Maybe they're a good pairing. I don't know if you were watching at the time, Micah, but Miz and Morrison. Okay, two guys that really weren't going anywhere, really didn't have much chemistry, you would think, on paper, but when they got paired together, they were probably one of the best teams of that era. So I mean, maybe it's something like that. Who knows?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see whether we'll like it or not, but
yeah,
I'll give it a shot. I just don't. When some of these NXT guys got called up, you told me to watch out for LA Knight because he's actually pretty good if they do anything with him. Originally, he was Max Dupree. You said watch for Grayson Waller. 50% of the time, you were right. Because LA Knight is great. Grayson Waller's gear sucks. His hair sucks. His gimmick sucks. His little talk show sucks. He stinks. That's just how I feel.
Jeez. Tell us how you really feel, Micah.
I will. He stinks.
Okay. So you putting Ricky Starks above him? Because I know that's your mortal enemy.
Oh, come on. Yes, I'm putting Ricky above him. Leagues above.
Wow. You must hate the ground this man walks on, Micah.
Well, just because I spit in his direction, that might be a tell.
Hey, is Cinnamon Toast Crunch sponsoring Rey Mysterio? Why was because didn't they have like a little thing at WrestleMania too?
I forgot that was also his match.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be.
Remember the Cinnamon Toast Crunch rode with him in the lowrider?
Did it really? I didn't remember that. I remember the little mascot being out there.
That Snoop Dogg was in the front seat.
What a nightmare blunt rotation.
Oh man.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch mascot.
Crunch. But did you see that? It was all over the barricade and the apron, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't know. They're sponsoring Rey Mysterio, apparently.
I mean, I don't know. Usually you're a big proponent of the ad
Cinnamon
sponsors.
Toast Crunch. I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No, hot take. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is buns with milk on
it.
It's only good dry.
No, son, you got to pour a little milk at a time. See, that's your problem. Pouring too much milk, it's soggy. Can't be doing that. Pour a little bit of milk, pour a little bit of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Eat what you got. And you pour more.
Whoa.
Hey, come on now. Come on
No. Back that up.
Wait, no, come on now. You know what I meant.
No, I'm not implying anything dirty.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you're going with that, Mike.
Did you say you pour the milk first?
Yeah, pour the milk first. What's wrong with that?
You pour the milk first when you make cereal.
Well, yeah, brother, and you pour a little bit of cereal in. And that way you can just keep on, refilling it.
I didn't know I was making the podcast with a serial killer.
Well,
You don't pour the milk first.
I don't want soggy cereal. Okay, sue me. I don't care.
What? No.
See, that's why you don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because you're making it all wrong.
It's nasty because it.
No.
No.
Stop it.
When the milk. First, we're gonna dissect the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Come on, man. We gotta move on to the next segment.
Look, okay, the milk washes all the cinnamon off, and then it's just nasty.
No, you just gotta eat the Cinnamon Toast Crunch fast. Come on, you gotta pour a little bit at a time, Micah.
But why do you pour the milk first? Because if you pour the milk on top of it, it like spreads evenly across the cereal.
Oh man, I don't think does it make that much of a difference, really?
Yes, because then you have to do that little tuck, and I mean you have to do it anyways. Yeah. But
nothing wrong with that.
No, because then all the cereal floats on top of the milk, and it's just no.
Maybe you're just eating cereal. No, maybe you are just eating cereal.
No, I promise you are eating cereal wrong.
What kind of milk do you use? Use almond milk?
2%.
2%. See, what are you doing? See, that's the reason you hate Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Using 2% milk.
What's wrong with 2% milk?
Almond milk, brother. Almond milk.
Not everything tastes like almonds. I like almond milk just as much as the next guy, but I don't want it for everything.
You don't taste the almonds in almond milk.
You do.
What kind of almonds are you eating?
No, because the almond milk. Okay, let me back this up. Do you get the vanilla almond milk or do you get the regular almond milk? Okay,
I don't get regular almond milk. I'm not a serial killer.
Well, apparently you are because you pour the milk first. The almond milk with vanilla in it is already sweet. So when you add it to something else, it just throws the taste off.
No. Well, yeah. Are you trying to be on a diet eating cereal? Micah, come on now. Add a little vanilla flavor in the cereal it's elite, man, especially with the CT Crunch.
Do you cook with the almond milk?
No, I don't cook with almond milk. What do I? No, of course not. Come on now. Be real here.
One time I did make a pastaroni with almond milk, and I will say,
God.
I was desperate. I just moved out, and I only had almond milk. And
brother, just use water at that point. Come on now.
Viewer discretion. That junk tasted awful because it was sweet. But no, you don't pour the milk first. And also, Frosted Mini Wheats, top 3.
Oh, whoa, come on now. You don't believe that.
I
really?
do. That is one of the strawberry Frosted Mini Wheats I order at every grocery.
You're the only one buying it. Because it's always on the shelf when I look. When I look at the shelf, it's always full.
Well, you're the one grabbing it for me. I'm just saying, you know.
I don't know that. I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody go in the grocery store and buy that as their cereal of choice. Like, come on now.
You okay?
Mini Wheats. Who is Mini Wheats?
Then you've never tried a Frosted Mini Wheat before?
Well, no.
You never in your life.
I've never had a Mounds bar, but I know those aren't good either.
See, now you're just getting blasphemous. Do you like Almond Joy?
No, I don't like Almond Joy. Who wants the coconut garbage all over the candy bar?
You don't like coconut?
Not on my candy bar.
What? How do we get along to make this podcast? If you've never had a mini wheat, how do you know you don't like them?
I just know I'm not gonna like it.
They're good, dude. They soak the milk up, and you have to eat them like not as fast as Cocoa Pebbles because
you gotta
Cocoa
scarf
Pebbles
it down.
No, you don't. Cocoa Pebbles is the worst cereal because it gets soggy in 3 minutes.
Well, you know, in my house, it doesn't get soggy because I pour the milk first. I pour a little bit of cereal at a time.
That's too much work. I want to pour my cereal, pour my milk, go sit down.
Well, see, by the time you sit down, your cereal soggy.
Exactly.
That's what you
Cocoa
get.
Pebbles sucks.
Eat it right then and there. As soon as you pour, there won't be no problems.
This has been food of the Scoop Slam podcast, and we will move on. Please, everybody, ridicule Ryan for pouring the milk first.
The correct way, you mean?
No, send us an email, scoopslammed@gmail.com, and tell us how you pour your cereal. Because I bet you, if we take a survey, people pour their cereal before they pour their milk.
Or they're doing it wrong, buddy.
I'll tell you who wasn't doing it wrong. Sammy and KO versus the Judgment Day followed this.
All right.
It was a Philly street fight, and there was a lot of mayhem.
They went Pittsburgh, brother. Pittsburgh.
Same thing.
No, not the same thing. Come on.
What? They got the bell. They got the...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
No, come on. They're Steel City. It was a Steel City street fight. You dare say blasphemous stuff calling it a Philly street fight.
Well, Pittsburgh, Steel City street fight. My bad.
There you go.
Sammy and KO versus the Judgment Day. I started us off with the scoops last time. This was also for the Unified Tag Team Championship, so I'll let you go ahead with your scoops to start us off.
Kevin Owens had a good little tribute to the legend himself, Terry Funk. He had the t-shirt under his gear. Thought that was a pretty nice touch. And they did like that. Didn't they do like a trash can spot where they put the trash can over Finn's head and they kind of started hitting him with the Singapore canes? Did they do that? Or
yes, they did.
The paper. I was about to say I watched the pay-per-view like a week ago, Micah. So you have to forgive me for my memory here. But I thought that was a nice little tribute. And hit you with a double stack. KO blading, which some people were saying that it was fake blood. Did you think that was fake?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was just bleeding a gusher, but
they don't really do that. They don't really use. But then again, the doctors didn't try to stop it or anything, so maybe it was fake. I don't know.
I mean, well, I don't know because the referee had gloves on his hand. So,
but remember when Finn got busted open at WrestleMania? They had to staple his forehead shut right then and there.
Well, yeah, but I'm assuming maybe KO cleared it in the back before he went out there.
I don't know. They don't really do that. It was weird.
I'm not gonna say that it's impossible, but I will also say the Finn cut was pretty deep, so that could have been why.
Yeah. Well, regardless if it was fake, real, it was something that you don't see that often in WWE, so it was a nice little touch there. Especially with it being a street fight, it added to the violence of a street fight. And you expect a Crimson Mask in a street fight.
And that's something WWE lacks. I mean, I know I touched on it earlier with Steel Cage, but sometimes there's just not that feeling of violence, like something could break out and hurt somebody. AEW has that and way too far. So I thought, KO willing to do that was a nice touch. I only had one scoop because we kind of shared those and you got two more. So I'll do a little quick interjection here. When KO dove off the guardrail onto the table.
Yeah.
He overshot it just a little bit. And I'm hoping that he didn't, jar his spine or anything. From the angle, where you could see, I guess I'm trying to describe the point of view. Basically, where you could see the front of him, was really nice. It looked cool with the wide shot and everything. And from there,
Yeah.
you couldn't really tell. But then when you watch the sideways camera, you saw like he hit him with maybe his shoulders, and that was about it. Everything else just hit the ground. So I hope KO's all right. It was a cool spot, but he overshot it just a hair.
I'm sure Dom was okay with him overshooting it because a man the size of Kevin Owens diving off a balcony onto you, Micah, that probably isn't ideal for having a long career. I'm sure if it was Jeff, yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure if it was Jeff, he'd have landed straight on his sternum.
God.
But yeah, I thought KO was the MVP in this whole match. He made sure to do everything that he didn't get a chance to do over his WWE career, like diving off balconies and bleeding. It felt one of my other scoops. It felt like an AEW type match, which I thought it kind of worked because WWE doesn't really have a lot of chaotic, bloody matches like that. So when you see them, it's a spectacle, and they don't overuse it. So I thought this was a really good match and a very surprising outcome. I'll say that.
I think that's how it is a lot of times with WWE and hardcore street fights, and it's kind of overdone, like the no rules or falls count anywhere. But when they do some stuff like this, every now and then, it adds to it. Personally, I like a little more blood in wrestling than WWE does, just because it makes it feel more legitimate to me. However, AEW at times overdoes it, and especially with Jon Moxley winning the International Championship, I'm sure we're about to get blood every single night. But it was a nice touch.
We already do.
Well, yeah, what's going to change? As for the slams, I didn't have any, and you really didn't either. So I guess we can't speak much more praise on this match. The Judgment Day,
maybe a little too much interference for my liking, but
yeah. Well, I was fine with Dom and Rhea, but then you got JD McDonough in there.
Funko Pop.
So I didn't watch that segment when it happened.
He's told the truth. It's been a criticism of him for a long time now.
As somebody who is into Funko Pops, it is a pretty spot on comparison.
I'm sure you're cracking up. I'm sure you're cracking up.
It made me like Cody a little more.
Oh, there. Okay. All right, then.
Oh, hey, now don't pull it too far. And he does have good Star Wars opinions for the most part.
He's a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I know that's not your thing, but a lot of people hate the new movies. He kind of spoke highly of them. So, maybe he's an alright guy. He's still really fake, but...
Oh, come on now. Come on now. He's a really nice guy, but I hope he dies. Jesus, Mike.
That's not what I said.
You might as well have said that.
No, I just said that...
You value his opinion, and then you hope his house catches on fire. Okay.
No, he's just a politician, that's all.
That's good. He's a wrestler.
Well, my overall thoughts, though, I probably would say that this is one of the best street fights in WWE in a while. It felt more real than most. And the Judgment Day winning the tag team title to me is for the best because Sammy and KO have kind of been getting stale. But I do have to pose the question, where do they go from here? It was a really cool shot to kind of close up their match with all the gold. I mean, Women's Championship, North American Championship, both tag titles. Priest has got the Money in the Bank. So they're dominant.
They had everything. They were like, you ever play that Road to WrestleMania with Sheamus? All the titles? It kind of felt like that.
Hey man, they should. Well, they did end up doing that in real life, didn't they?
Ooh.
Well, it was like the United Nations. They ended
Oh
up
yeah, they did. They did bring that. It was the League of Nations. The
League of Nations.
And they got jabroned by Roman, and then all the old guys beat him up at WrestleMania 32.
Go figure. Cue that
Yeah.
little donut, 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 and it's over for him there. But who do they feud with? Like in the tag team division, right?
Sammy and KO?
Well, I mean, that's kind of been played out at this point, hasn't it?
Well, no. I was asking, are you saying who are they feuding with? You saying?
No, I'm talking about the Judgment Day.
Oh, who is the Judgment Day gonna feud with? I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit, Mike. I was trying to piece together what you said. But Judgment Day should feud with. They're on Raw, so the cupboard is kind of bare.
Well,
because there's not a lot of baby faces to choose from on Raw, is it?
No, but they do have the SmackDown tag team titles as well.
Okay, yeah, they can float back and forth. They're gonna be on every show. They're on
I'm about to say they already are.
Raw. They're on NXT, Raw. Okay, but on SmackDown. Yeah, we could do. Man, what tag teams are available? Michael, do we call somebody up? No,
Dudleys.
I don't think. Well, no, their last run was a disaster, but
because the Profits are heel now. The Raiders are heel. The New Day is hurt.
But they're supposed to be main event. You know what? I didn't even think about this, but they do have Drew and Matt. I know you hate Matt Riddle.
Oh, no.
They have two guys that are tagging together. They are almost main event guys. Drew was a former world champion, and Matt Riddle has had, little flashes of main event success. He had a very prominent tag team with Randy Orton. So I can see Drew, Matt Riddle, maybe feuding with Judgment Day.
But aren't they like kind of acting a little heelish, or am I getting that confused?
Nah, Matt Riddle's been pretty much Matt Riddle. And then Drew McIntyre seems annoyed with everything Matt Riddle. But I can see it working. I can see the crowd getting behind it because the crowd likes when guys do goofy stuff, apparently. So I can see it working. They can maybe get pay-per-view out of that.
But they're gonna name them something garbage like Clay Bro or something. And then
That's what they're being called, I believe.
Are you dead honest? Because I just came up with that off the top of my head.
I think that is what they are being called. Yeah. Mikey, you been watching the product, man?
Help me.
Okay. All right. I see you. You've been watching Raw low key, huh? I've been killing me.
They're just listening. I guess Triple H has got a pipeline to my inner thoughts. Well, if he had a pipeline to my inner thoughts, he would know that I thought that this next segment should have been scrapped. The Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes.
Oh, you didn't like this?
I didn't like Cody part of it, I guess. I don't like Grayson Waller. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
And Jey Uso coming to Raw will be interesting, but...
And let me stop you right there, Micah, because I want everybody to know his music is heat. Go ahead, continue.
Interesting. I haven't heard it enough to have an opinion.
There's this guy I was going back and forth with, arguing, saying, "Oh, Jimmy Uso has the better theme now." I'm like, what? It sounds like Count Dracula's theme. It's got like a little weird piano at the start, and then it just kind of sounds like dang, what's that tag team on SmackDown? Hit Row. It kind of sounds like Hit Row's theme.
Oh no,
it does. It sounds like it.
I'll listen to both of them and get back to you on the next episode of the pod. Because honestly, I slightly heard Jay's, but I mainly just heard somebody on Twitter being like, "Oh, it says just me, Oos." That's all I heard.
It was heat. And you had the crowd bumping with it.
Okay. The taunt is a little weird.
No, it works. I love it.
It's funny. Like when he was on the top row, and everybody's buying into it, so I'll give him that.
I like it.
But when you sit and like watch it from like maybe a 30,000 foot view, and you just see everybody just like flapping their arms up and down, and especially when he was going back down the entrance ramp, and he started gyrating a little bit with it.
Come
I'm just
on.
saying.
Come on now. Be nice.
I like Jay.
Do you?
I actually do. I like him.
You said you wanted to throw away this segment.
Well, that's because let's backtrack a little bit. The scoop I had was Jay going to Raw. The slam is the fact that, like, I hate this in WWE and AEW too, but it's really been evident with Kevin Owens. When they try to meta the segment, like Cody said here, what, you got me out here, we're gonna fight, you're gonna say something to me, and I'm gonna act shocked, and then I'm gonna hit you and ruin the set. Like, I guess it just takes me out of it when they do that. You're acting like smarter than the room. Kevin Owens does that all the time too, and it aggravates me. So I didn't like that, and this didn't really like go anywhere. And my other slam is just the fact that Grayson Waller is a skippable person on WWE TV right now.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, I don't like him. So that's my thoughts. Like, other than Jay, was this really needed? Was it really needed on the pay-per-view too?
Nah, I don't know about it. It probably could have been done the pre-show, honestly.
So, like, what? I don't understand what they see with Grayson Waller.
Maybe he's really good at kissing butt behind the scenes. I don't know.
Though I will say his picture on Twitter was pretty funny after with the
the Pepsi.
Yeah, it said Jey Uso doesn't even work here, and he hit me. The convenient product placement. It was like a movie.
Yeah, his online game is a lot more entertaining than his actual in-ring stuff.
Well, it certainly don't cross over because his in-ring stuff stinks. Same as his gear.
Oh man, you remember when he got the Rock hot? The comment.
Yeah,
good troll.
I don't think anything is gonna come out of that either.
No, God no. I hope not. Can you imagine they bring out Rocky for WrestleMania 40 and he has a confrontation with Grayson Waller? I can see it happening, but I would hate that it happened.
Let me ask you a quick question, because it kind of relates.
He's not going to show up. He's not going to show up because of the actor's strike. Come on now.
Well, what if that wasn't my question, Ryan?
I know that was going to be your... Okay, sorry. What was your question?
If the actor's strike keeps going on with the Rock.
No, Rock is getting dragged on social media right now for begging for handouts, knowing that he's a multi-millionaire. Have you seen that?
No.
So apparently, The Rock and Oprah Winfrey have started like a charity fund for Maui. And they're asking people to donate money to help the people of Maui. And then people are like pointing out their net income, like what they're worth. And Oprah's worth $3 billion. And The Rock is worth like 800 million. And they're asking us for a handout during economic crisis. Why can't y'all help them?
I mean, you got a good point. I guess I just never thought about it like that.
He is getting dragged on social media, man. And I love The Rock, but he took an L on this one. They had to turn off their comments on the video, too.
Dang. Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about that. Which, I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff about that whole Maui fire. Some people are saying there's more to the story. I don't know, but I guess it is kind of interesting, like why they would ask regular people for money, like they're not the richest people in the world.
Yeah, makes no sense.
Well, what happened next didn't make any sense either. And you told me not to watch it, so I did.
Oh man, I'll just point out what I got here. We had Rhea and
Rhea
Raquel.
Ripley. Yeah,
Let me take the lead here.
go ahead, because I didn't watch it.
Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Rodriguez? Yeah, Rodriguez. This was a match that happened on this PLE. It happened on Saturday night last week, and yeah, it was a lot of punches and kicks. A botched power bomb from Raquel here that didn't look good. The commentators had to kind of cover up for it, but it looked really bad.
What did she do? Like not get her up far enough?
She got her up, but she fell backwards. And it kind of looked like Rhea delivered an offensive maneuver.
Oh no.
Yeah, she had a little too much momentum behind the power bomb. I don't know. It was weird. And I believe Dom got involved in this. And at that point, I wrote down way too much interference on this PLE for my liking. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that was fair, even with me not watching this match.
Yeah. And then Rhea picks up the win, which I guess they're not done with this. So they probably go another pay-per-view or two. They had a really, really good match in NXT, so I'm not going to write it off yet, but their first encounter right here on this PLE, I think the lights were a little too bright for Raquel here.
Yeah, people online did not speak of it favorably. Like I said, I asked you what I needed to watch, and you said basically all of Payback except for that. And I don't know. I saw Dave gave it like a star and a half. And I hate that because I really like Rhea. And I've always heard that her and Raquel had, classics in NXT, but
Lights
maybe
were
they
too
can put
bright.
it together on the next one.
Yeah, just and they put them in a bad spot here right before the main event. They put them in a death spot.
That's true. Stole Tony Khan's booking again. Well, for the main event of Payback, excuse me, for the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Was this the battle of who could put a worse headliner on? I'm sorry.
Oh man, it was yeah.
I got bought into this because of the Shinsuke promo.
Yeah.
But comparing this and comparing the Orange Cassidy match, do either of these feel like pay-per-view main events?
Well, they both had members of the Shield in it.
That don't make it good.
No, I'm not.
Unless they're facing each other.
I'm not arguing that, but it's just kind of funny that they were both in the probably one of the most anticlimactic main events of the year. But yeah, Seth and Shinsuke had a match.
I guess it ain't gonna get here any quicker. As for the scoops, I'll start us off because I only got one.
It seems like a slam. How you wrote it?
What? Maybe. Is there like that position they do before they slam them where they're just holding them in limbo? This is what that is.
Okay.
Seth getting the win is positive. And even though, well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm pretty over his reign.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't buy Shinsuke Nakamura as a world champion.
Only if they kept on giving him the video packages like he had on Raw a couple weeks ago. I can buy it then, but yeah, I agree. Especially his.
I mean, maybe.
His in-ring stuff is always kind of. You hear the stories about him being a world beater in Japan, of having 5-star classics and being the best wrestler alive. one of the best wrestlers of all time. And then you get him in WWE, and he has just kind of their matches. They're not anything great. I would never ever go back and watch this ever again. But I did like the package they played of the anime type deal. Did you see that?
Mm,
You didn't like
you
that.
know,
You didn't like that. Come on.
no, I didn't. I didn't
Did you
see
like
it.
anything on Payback, Mike?
I liked a couple matches. I just didn't see the promo.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
skipping ahead.
Oh man, you
Should have
zipped
let
through
it keep
that.
going.
Yeah. Yeah, probably so.
My overall, well, I'll let you go ahead and get to your two scoops real quick. I did like the stuff they were doing with Shinsuke. It still doesn't pull me in enough. Like, I don't think he could sustain it enough to be a world champ.
Maybe IC champion.
Okay, I can follow you there.
He's done that a few times. I don't know if he can dethrone Gunther, but
No, that
maybe
spot's
that
reserved.
for who though? Well, we'll get into that at a later point in time. But yeah, I had the two scoops, and I just hit you with one earlier. I liked the package they played beforehand of Shinsuke. Because I thought it was weird that they had Seth come out first for the title match. Because usually, the champ is always coming out last.
Yeah.
And so I figured they had something up their sleeve. And yeah, they played a little nice anime type package for Shinsuke where he narrated it. And I thought it was a nice little thing to play. And as far as the match goes, I did enjoy the Michinoku driver from the second rope. I'm trying to remember who hit it. Was it Shinsuke that hit it?
No, I think it was Seth.
Was it Seth? Okay, all right.
Been a
Seth
week.
hit it. Yeah, it's been a long week. Seth hit it. Of course, Shinsuke kicks out because that's what you do nowadays to big moves. You kick out of it, but it did look nice. So, say that.
Yeah, the match wasn't bad. That's not what I'm saying. It just was very.
It was there. Feel like a Raw match.
Yeah, very much so.
Raw match with no commercials, while the fans serenaded both guys.
And while AEW put on Dynamite with no commercials. But before we get there, overall, not a bad batch. A bad batch. No, that's Star Wars. Not a bad match by any means. Just started a little slow and it never really pulled me in. But overall, for Payback, let's see. Give me your rating out of 10.
It was 7.1. That was okay. Probably go back and watch maybe one, maybe two matches out of the whole PLE. If I ever maybe I'll go back and watch that street fight or that Trish Becky match. I might do that, but everything else, it was there.
Yeah, I'll say like 6.5. Just there was some good stuff on here, and it wasn't like a ridiculously long paper. But I mean, the only thing I personally see myself going back and watching would be either the street fight or like maybe LA Knight. And if LA Knight continues on this run, then you can go back and be like, wow, look, he was really over right here, but this wasn't even a fraction of where it would get to.
Whoa, Micah. When we do the Scoop Slam yearly awards, you're gonna have to go back and watch the match of the year candidate, Becky versus Trish.
Get out of here. You're lying. Yeah. Well, I don't think we'll be watching it. I don't think me and you will be doing anything. All Out 2023. No CM Punk because he was fired.
No CM Punk chance either, which was very surprising.
No, they did a little bit during the Bucks match.
Supposedly they were drowning them out with boos when people started chanting CM Punk, which that's how CM Punk lost Chicago.
Well, I don't think AEW gained it.
Well, yeah, they lost Chicago too. But go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I think Punk will get him back in October at
Oh, well.
Survivor Series.
Okay. All right. We'll be there.
Nah, I'm honestly hoping he waits for Rumble, or maybe they'll give him the Cody treatment and he'll come out at WrestleMania. But who
Dang.
knows? If I'm a
Dang.
betting man, he's going back to WWE.
What? No impact?
Oh God. Well, folks, where's the lie?
Bobby Fish won his rematch, brother.
I saw a picture on Twitter today that said, "Wait a minute," and it had a picture of Punk and a picture of Bobby Fish, and then under it had the Impact Tag Team titles.
Run it back.
Oh shoot! Chicago, Illinois, though, was greeted. Well, aside from the pre-show, Adam Cole and MJF versus the Dark Order opened up this show. This is one of my slams, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Dark Order should not be on a pay-per-view 2020.
I'm surprised they still have a job, honestly.
Well, you know why. Friends with the Bucks.
Well, yeah, I guess you got a point.
I don't understand why this team, first off, is still together, why they're even in contention. I know this is the Ring of Honor tag team. Sliver better, but keep them in Ring of Honor, please.
Yeah.
Because the gimmick has been here for 4 years, and it ain't gotten over,
No.
and it ain't going to.
It's been bad for all those 4 years, too. Never was good. I don't care if Luke Harper was the leader for 2 months. It still wasn't good then, either. Sorry to break the AEW fans' hearts. I know I'm going to get dragged on social media by saying that, but it wasn't good then either.
The AEW Reddit has your social security number.
Oh, man, they might bomb my house, man.
What do you have to say for yourself? But getting into the match, obviously Adam Cole and MJF picked up the win. The scoops, we had one apiece. I'll let you go ahead and start us off for All Out 2020.
Well, mine kind of happened after the match, but I did enjoy. Go ahead. Oh, okay. All right. I'll wait.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to step on your toes.
No.
I thought you
Go
were
ahead.
okay. Well, I thought you were pitching for me to go ahead and do mine since it was kind of before the aftermath.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll go first then. I thought it was a good use of Samoa Joe here, starting a feud with MJF. I think they're gonna have some great back and forth on the mic, in ring. I don't know, because Samoa Joe is hit or miss nowadays. He's 40 years old. He looks cooked some days, but he does have he has a lot of goodwill with the fans, a lot of momentum right now coming off that show on Peacock. What's that show? Shredder?
Twisted Metal.
Twisted. Is he?
Classic.
I'd never played it. I'm sorry. Well,
Ah.
I never played it. I don't know. But yeah, he's got a lot of. I was supposedly he did really well in that show too. I might add. My dad was speaking very highly of that show. But beside the point. Point is, Samoa Joe MJF could be a very entertaining feud. I know they had a great back and forth on Wednesday. I did not check out yet, but I will definitely check out soon.
Yeah, we'll probably get to it on this next episode of the podcast.
Yeah, and I just laid out everything, but I didn't talk about what happened, Micah. So let me just tell you tell you and the listeners what happened here. Samoa Joe came out, music hit. MJF was walking up the ramp very slowly, gingerly, still hurting, holding his neck. And Samoa Joe gives him a little shove. And we do know AEW loves their WWE references. And if you had a keen eye, you would recognize that Samoa Joe gave MJF that same shove at TakeOver Brooklyn in 2016. Or I think it was 2015. 2015. So, good little callback to the people that know, they know. And MJF did come, he didn't let that slide, which I'm glad they didn't just have him walk to the back, feckless, having his balls in his purse and like that. But they had him come out and attack Samoa Joe, which I thought was nice. That was the only scoop I had for the. Well, I don't even think it wasn't a scoop for the match. It was a scoop for after the match. But what you got, Mike?
I'm interested to see where that goes. Obviously, they had to pivot from the Punk thing because I want to say that's where this was going to go after All Out, but I can live with the Joe MJ feud, like you said. The promos will be good. I think MJF is a good enough worker to get a match out of Samoa Joe.
It's funny because Samoa Joe lost to the real world champion, and now he's going to get a title shot to the other world champion. All right.
Well, he held his own Punk, so.
He lost twice.
But he held his own.
He lost though twice.
But it's like when the one team gets banned,
Okay.
and the next team steps up. Samoa Joe's the next team. If
Uh,
you can't tell, I'm lying.
all right then.
But I think it'll be good. I did like the callback. I thought it was cool, and a lot of people online really like it. So it'll be interesting. I heard positive things about their stuff that haven't gotten to it yet. We'll get to that next week. My only other scoop was that Adam Cole and MJF are still really over, which is a good thing. I was scared that maybe now that they had that match and it didn't necessarily culminate, other than just oh, we're still friends, that they would lose some of the luster. So to see them still be massively over and probably get one of the biggest pops of the night, that's a good thing. That is the world champion. And even though they're only selling 1,700 tickets next week for Dynamite,
Jesus,
maybe it'll be a loud crowd.
And they had a half-empty United Center for this too.
Well, it was not that. They sold more than they did last year.
Well, brother, it can hold 21,000 people, and they had 10,000 up in the building.
Well, when you put it like that.
I don't know.
But have they ever done that full building?
I would assume they put a lot of people in there when Punk came back, right?
Oh, that's true. Actually, I think he sold out the United Center when they first came back.
They probably said
at Rampage.
They probably said it sold out, but it only sold out for the tickets that they had. They probably only had 12,000 available, and just tarped off the rest of the arena. I don't know. I don't know if they sold out 20,000.
Well, other than that, I had 2 slams. I don't think you really did because I don't know how much attention you paid to this match, and if you didn't, I don't.
Yeah.
One of them already got to that Dark Order should not be on an AEW pay-per-view point in my life or theirs. The other thing was MJF got his neck hurt and had to go to the back or was going to go to the back, shrugged him off. And Excalibur was laughing. I didn't necessarily write down what point, but he was laughing while MJF's neck was hurt.
Yeah, I noticed
and then
that too.
Yeah, he realized he was being ridiculous and tried to apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I don't like you. This is supposed to be a scary moment where you're worried for your champion, your cash cow's health. And you're sitting over here laughing. Oh, okay. Yep. I know MJF's all right because the daggum commentator's treating it like a joke. I hate to bring this up, but you remember the whole Damar Hamlin situation that last year.
Oh,
Can you imagine if one of the commentators was laughing during that?
They would have cut his mic and he would have been escorted out the building.
That's what they should do to Excalibur. That's garbage. It takes me out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like his. And then he corrupts the guys he's with too. If it's Taz and Shivani on commentary with him, they'll start laughing along with him. It'll just become comedy hour. Just crack jokes at each other, laugh at it. Because nothing should be taken serious on the show.
It's that thing of you become a product of what you hang around. And I really like Taz, but he becomes a product of who he announces with. So Other than that, it was okay, I guess. I don't have any nitpicks about it because I didn't like really pay attention to it. But I don't. That just he drives me insane sometimes with that.
Yeah, I agree.
But the aforementioned Samoa Joe had a match following this versus Shane Taylor for the Ring of Honor Television
Ooh.
Championship. I'll say it again.
Ooh.
One more time.
Ooh.
Look, I'm not trying to be that guy. No disrespect.
Oh, go ahead.
Has he been on AEW TV at all?
Not one bit. No. Not even a package.
Why is he on the pay-per-view?
Well, he well, he bro, I'm really trying to think. I don't know. Does he have a lot of wins on ROH? He was a former TV champion, apparently.
Apparently he's one of, and I didn't know this till after the pay-per-view, and it's only because I follow a Twitter account that's called like Ring of Honor History, and they asked who's the best television champion of all time, and a bunch of people were shouting out Shane Taylor. That's the only thing I know about him.
I'm sure nobody was watching when he was television champion because I had no idea who he was. And I watched quite a bit of ROH in the mid 2010s. Never heard this guy.
I wasn't like unimpressed.
I was.
Or I
He looked indie, man.
I think that's part of just his gear, though. I think if he had a gear update, that would help. But then again, Angelo Dawkins was like kind of the same thing. I don't like it on him either.
It worked for him. It don't work for this guy. They didn't look good.
Jim Shorts just doesn't look good in a wrestling ring. And I say that as a big Punk fan. The Jim Shorts look for Punk, I don't like.
No, that looked indie when he had it. Kevin Owens can pull it off, but that's it. Maybe Enzo Dawkins on some days.
Honestly, I think KO is the only one that I don't. I mean, I don't love it, but it works, I guess. Like for Punk, it worked, but then when you saw him in trunks in WWE, it was like, oh yeah, this looks like a legit wrestler compared to Ring of Honor indie guy.
Some guy you see in the backyard wrestling in front of like 15 people. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. I'll start the scoops off because I'm the only one that had one.
Yep.
Slams.
Mm-hmm.
Joe diving around in 2023 is still kind of crazy to watch. I remember when I first tuned into TNA and I saw a guy that big diving around. And he wasn't even like really big then, or at least, the size he is now, but he's still able to do some dives. And, I think you're hard on Joe. I don't hate his in-ring work. And I honestly didn't hate this match. I thought Shane Taylor was okay. I think he could do all right considering most of AEW's roster is small. But the fact that he's on a pay-per-view, he's never been on AEW TV.
Never had any promo time. Micah, do you really, really see this guy ever having a career in AEW? Honestly, like getting any promo time, getting any marquee matches ever again in AEW? Because I really don't. I don't see it.
Well, I think we both know why he wouldn't.
Oh, come on now. I wouldn't even talking about that.
Hey, the shoe is fitting.
Well,
but independent of that, probably not. But like, I'm not gonna say there's not a world where he's a TNT champ or maybe international or something like that.
Maybe for NWA he can be the TV champ, but he ain't gonna be no TV champ here. It ain't happening.
Well,
no disrespect to Shane Taylor, but he's a scrub. He's a bona fide scrub. He looks like a jabroni. I didn't like this match. Joe has hit or miss matches with me nowadays. Yes, I do enjoy his promos still, but I didn't care for this right here.
can't defend it or refute you. So, is that all the slams you had, or did you?
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just rip it a new one.
Yeah. I'm not done yet. I still got a lot to get off my chest.
I think I got one more in me.
Like I said earlier, I didn't like his gear. Looked too indie for me. The punches looked pretty good until they did a little close up. And I don't know if we got to blame the camera crew or we just going to blame Shane Taylor. But did you notice how he was throwing his punches, Micah?
Not
Okay.
intently.
Okay. Let me lay this out for you. Joe was in the corner and he was throwing strikes at him. And at the same time, you could hear a smack while he was throwing the strikes. And I was like, dang, he laying them things in. But no, you look a little closer, and my man was just slapping his chest the entire time. Like, I hate that. That looks so phony. It's like when they throw the super kick and they start slapping their thighs. That looks phony to me too. But when it's so blatant and they kind of zoomed in, you can see it. Plain as day, he's slapping his chest at the same time he's throwing punches. I hated it. Looked stupid. And Kevin Kelly. Oh man, I don't know how you feel about Kevin Kelly. He's very let's say polarizing online, especially now that some of his political views have been outed. We don't have to dive onto that, but he kept on mentioning this is a big fight feel here, guys. You could just feel it with the crowd. And then you look around, the crowd is making no noise. You see 75% of people just scrolling on their phone. Like, the crowd could not care less about this match. But Kevin Kelly kept on saying how he felt like the energy in the building was just so different. Two heavyweights colliding, electric to the crowd. And I thought Michael Cole had a bad call the night before. But yeah, that was my last slam for this match. Hopefully it gets slammed and never talked about again.
That was definitely one way to put it. I think the Michael Call comparison there is pretty accurate because I mean, people like Joe, but again, you can't put a guy on a pay-per-view never been on your TV. Not one person who purchased a ticket with their own hard-earned money purchased that ticket to watch Shane Taylor. I'm not trying to diss the guy. I'm sure he's nice.
Sure, his family probably bought a ticket.
But do you think they were there?
They gotta be. That's gonna be his only time on pay-per-view ever. So I'm sure he brought them out there. Sure, Tony Khan flew them all out.
Well, I hope that Shane Taylor finds a nice career in Ring of Honor. And, maybe he can carve a path out there. As far as AEW goes, I don't know.
Should be working at Checkers. I don't want to see him.
Oh, come on.
I just don't want to see this guy anymore.
Well, one of your favorites from Big Brother was in a match following this for the TNT Championship, and he's managed by one of your favorites of all time, Luchasaurus, with Christian, versus Darby Allin. This one actually has some build. Now that Punk's out of the picture, that's not a wild statement, I guess. He's up there.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Apparently my dog is not a fan of Luchasaurus.
Oh, geez.
Well, maybe Christian told him that his dad died.
Oh,
anyways,
come on.
Luchasaurus picked up the win. This one didn't go too long. I will say personally, not my favorite Darby match. As for the scoops, you got more than me, so I'll let you go ahead.
And Darby bounced around like a Super Bowl in there. I thought that was nice. He usually does that in his matches. I don't see him having a long career the way he takes a beating in his matches, especially because apparently his back is really jacked up. They could just be kayfabe, but I don't know. I see him going to Mick Foley track of not being around in his mid-30s because of the punishment he's taken. But
Well, I want to say he did have an interview where he said he planned to not wrestle like after 35. So
what's he gonna do? Does he have any skills? He
well,
was homeless when he was getting trained. He refused to get a job. So I mean, is he gonna do anything after that, Micah?
he's a skateboarder and he's got a clothing brand that I think like is
Ain't nobody rocking
decent.
that. Ain't nobody rocking that.
Well, I'm
Oh,
sure somebody out there is.
Is that the one that has the Big Baller brand logo on it?
Huh?
That clothing brand he has, I think it has like a Big Baller brand logo on it. Or at least it looks like it. Have you seen that?
I don't know. The only one I saw was like Hoodlum.
Is that what it is?
I mean, maybe, but I hadn't seen the BBB.
I
BBB
swear.
catches you from anywhere.
I'll send you that
It's
picture
iconic.
later. I'll send you the picture later. But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe he can just do like autograph signings when he retires and live off that.
That's how some of the guys do it.
This kind of happened after the match, but baby faces have friends. Did you know that, Mike? Because I had no idea. They actually came out to stop the beating that was happening.
I actually didn't. You know, it's a revolutionary concept that guys are on the road a lot of the year and that they would make friends sometimes.
Wow. Wow. You really? No, come on.
You go to work and we just hate everybody. And if you were getting beat up in the nobody would hate you.
Oh, just get
You out of your mind?
Get maligned in the parking lot of Walmart. Just get beat up and maybe run over a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't think anybody would save me, Micah.
I did like that aspect of it though, and I think it is lost a lot. I didn't think about it, but you do bring up a good point that most of the time the babyface just gets absolutely, crucified and nobody else could care at all. Oh well.
No.
It'll be fine. My match is later.
Yeah, I ain't got my gear on, brother. I can't go out there.
But as for my slam or my scoop, sorry, let me not get ahead of myself because I do have some slams. They were outside at the beginning of this for kind of a long time. The stair spot I thought was pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't take that bump. However, it was nice. Different. And like you said, Darby is probably the Mick Foley of this generation that he's willing to do anything to entertain the and he does not have a long plan. You better hope Tony can get him some health insurance.
I gotta get the EVP title.
Who's he gonna coach?
He'd just be the life coach, going around backstage giving people advice.
Yeah, don't do what I did, brother. Nah, in all seriousness, I do like Darby, and I respect the fact that he's willing to do the body to entertain. This just was not my favorite of his matches. His one with Christian was much better weeks ago, and it sucks that we're not going to get that level of collision anymore.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they kind of released the card from Dynamite, and it's looking like Rampage 2.0, so you know where it's headed.
Brand split is over, apparently, too.
Yep. That was the best thing they had, because guys like Starks and Hobbs and Miro and FTR were actually getting the pushes. Oh, instead, now we can get the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks and Action Andretti and every other gymnastic.
Yeah, every other cartwheeler, every tumbler, every gymnast. Yeah, I got you. It might just turn into that. Yeah, hopefully it will.
As I texted you when I saw the news that Punk got fired, I would like to formally announce that I'm coming home back to Stamford.
Oh, man.
This pay-per-view, people were praising it so highly online And I was like, maybe I can get into it at some point. And then I would watch a match, and I was like, ugh. And then I'd wait till the next day to watch the match. I probably have been watching this pay-per-view for like 5 days.
Do you think the fact that it got hyped up so much that it kind of hindered your enjoyment of the pay-per-view?
I mean, maybe, because going into it, I honestly was like, probably not even going to watch most of this. Like, I didn't think we were going to review most of this. And then everybody online was going so nuts for it. I was like, okay, I've got to watch it. And here we are now dissecting it, because 3 matches in, what has been good?
Well, I like the Samoa Joe and MJF interaction.
30 seconds out of probably what was an hour up to this point.
Well, we got some good stuff coming up. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, let me not bury it too much. That'll come at the end. As for the slams for the Darby Allin Luchasaurus match, one real quick, Luchasaurus is still not good in the ring, especially the tombstones that he was hitting at
Oh,
like
man.
garbage. Darby didn't even hit, and it was so obvious. And then he just kept going. It just put the
Yeah.
belt on Christian at that point.
I mean, he's already kind of holding the title.
Well, you know why? Because Lucha, I don't know, because that's what this is gonna like devolve into every time. Is Christian's gonna eat a pin? They're gonna face Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus is gonna win, but the match they're gonna have with Luchasaurus is gonna be rotten. Because this is Darby's worst match in a while, and I feel like even you can.
I like the man behind Luchasaurus. I'm not a big Luchasaurus guy, but I did enjoy his work on Big Brother. I'll just leave it at that.
You got any slams for that, or are you ready to move on?
Oh boy, Darby used a chair, and there was no DQ. Well, I mean, the ref didn't call for a DQ while he saw him use a chair, and that kind of took away from it. But that was the only slam I had. It's not. It was a nothing match. It happened.
So we'll move on. Next up, for the meat title,
Oh God.
Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I've got to read through this now. I can't believe you had no scoops.
Oh no, not at all, sir. I thought it hindered my enjoyment of the match. The
Mm.
jabronis in the crowd trying to entertain themselves.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it comes across on the mic, but we do not really talk about much before we go into this. We mainly talk about other bull crap before we hop on here. So a lot of the times, as I'm going through this, I'm reading what you and then trying to remind myself what I was thinking in the moment. So I'll go ahead for the scoops. You know what they say when like a white guy is actually, a good wide receiver, and they're like, oh, he's a sneaky athlete. Or earlier we were talking about it, it's like, oh, he plays the game well.
The right way.
I think the sneaky athlete line is so great for Miro and Hobbs here, because they were doing some stuff that, like, as big guys, they should not be doing, but it worked, and you forget that they are both, athletes under those massive frames. So I thought that worked well. Hobbs, to me, has definitely improved in the ring, and if you've been listening long enough, I'm Hobbs. I think he should have been a major player in the company by now and had a major reign like Miro had with the TNT Championship, but instead he, holds it for 2 weeks. And, lastly, they say Powerhouse Hobbs breaks backs, and Miro was having flashbacks when Lana saw Hobbs. That's all I'm going to say.
Come on.
That's
You know,
all I'm gonna say.
you said Hobbs improved in the ring. Brody didn't improve on legs. Why my man got those toothpicks for legs with such a huge upper body?
I I've never noticed. I don't think he has
Never-
skinny legs.
He got bird legs.
Oh, come on now.
Bro got Orange Cassidy's legs on
No, get out of here.
On Bobby Lashley's torso.
Now I gotta look up a picture of this, but I don't believe you.
Oh, once you see it, you would not be able to unsee it.
I'll let you go ahead and get to the slams though, because I honestly thought that you would like this to a point.
I just didn't. I thought they have lost Chicago. They've lost Chicago. This fan base here in Chicago, Illinois, Micah, started chanting meat throughout the whole match. And I don't know. It just felt like they were trying to entertain themselves, trying to get themselves over. You know, those smarky fans trying to get a pop out of their friends. So they start chanting weird stuff, not cheering for the guys in the actual match, you know, working hard and trying to entertain them. No, they got to chant meat at everything and beat that meat and meat for it. Come on, man. How is that getting any of these guys over? Like they just decided themselves that they're going to start chanting weird stuff. And I didn't like that. I felt it ruined the match for me. So yeah, Chicago crowd, you get a big slam from the Scoop Slam podcast here. I hate you. I hate Chicago. I hate the United Center.
I hate you. I thought that's what you were just gonna leave it at.
Because I saw you send a text and it kind of threw my train of thought off. But yeah, Chicago, you suck. I hate you. And Hobbs tapping out. It kind of ruins his mystique as an unstoppable force, but I guess that's been ruined already from him losing a bunch to Wardlow and everybody else that's done beat him, and he been the goofy QTV segments. Maybe his mystique has already been dead, but this didn't work for me. I didn't like that. I didn't like him tapping.
Yep,
And it's kind of ridiculous.
slam.
It's kind of ridiculous that Lana had graphics set up already and music while her husband was about to get murdered in the ring. She had to make an entrance. Like, how did that make any sense? Did they already have the entrance lined up for her? Was she going to make an entrance out after the match? Was that going to be a surprise? And then Hobbs just decided to beat up Miro, and so they decided to make it. Just didn't make any logical sense how they had it queued up like that.
Well, don't you know, Ryan, everything's fake, and this is all just a performance, and we're jabroni marks for asking people to put an ounce of thought into some realism.
And then she hit Hobbs with a chair. Brother, this is 2023. You get hit with a chair. You get hit with a chair, Micah. What is your first reaction? What you doing?
In my years of expertise in watching wrestling.
Yes, sir. Okay.
She's getting hit with the Van Daminator. Respectfully.
Or at least a clothesline. Give her a clothesline. Nothing wrong with clotheslining a few ladies. I mean, if it's called for, don't just go around, clotheslining your teacher. But yeah, man.
Front face lock like Punk to defuse the situation.
You might get fired if you do that, Micah. Can't be having that.
Oh, so I'm getting fired for the front face lock, but a steel chair. That's just grounds for employment.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that's fine though. I mean, you just knock on a piece of glass and deliver your move to the person. I mean, you get a slap on the wrist for that. But put them in a front face lock, you're fired, and you are holding the company hostage, and you're making me fear for my life.
You're putting a dark cloud on the company.
And you're cancer.
I have to agree. I know from a network standpoint.
They were on pay-per-view. Come on now. They headbutted Julia Hart last week in the crotch. Or scissored her, which doesn't sound That let me rephrase that. They leg dropped her in
They
the crotch.
crotched her.
Yeah, with their legs.
The middle one. Anyways, so look, I know it was pay-per-view, and normally on the network I can understand, but like, are people, and I asked this question, I know the answer to it because literally anything people get pissed about these days, like in terms of getting offended. But like, are people really gonna get mad about somebody getting hit in a woman getting hit by a man in a fake wrestling show? I'm not saying he has to like punch her. I can understand why that would be a bad thing, or choking even. Like if he picked her up and power slammed her, like is somebody gonna really be upset about that? I don't think so.
Why is it okay for her to hit him? Why is
Yeah,
that okay? I don't understand that. So nobody cares about men getting hit by women, but if you reciprocate that and lay her out with a clothesline, suddenly you're a bad guy and you're getting canceled. I don't think that. I mean, what? Dana White didn't get canceled. I mean, slapped his wife, slapped her around a little bit.
they should have put it on a TV show.
I mean,
would have popped the rating.
Hey, slap fight probably would have done his best number if they played that.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree about the whole having everything queued up, and it was all kind of weird after. Anyways, he was like just completely blew her off, and then Hobbs I felt like buried. The match was okay, and I wasn't bothered by the meat chants like it bothered you. It did bother me when like Excalibur starts acknowledging it again. He's being comical on the mic and much to be a
They were
serious
just laughing at it.
heavyweight bout.
Yeah, they were laughing at it because everything's a joke, Micah.
So some factors here didn't work for me. The match itself, not with any outside factors, I enjoyed. But, it's time to come to a realization. Hobbs, I don't know when your contract is up, but when it is, you and Wardlow need to carpool together, take a trip down to Orlando. The Performance Center address you could probably pick up from Brian Pillman Jr., and you need to take your talents elsewhere.
And work on legs. Make sure you hit legs too.
They're just not toned. I looked at them. They're just not toned.
They're skinny, man.
But I really like Hobbs. And does Miro lose any? No. But does
Both
Hobbs?
Both guys need to win. Both guys need to win. They shouldn't have booked it.
That's true, and I agree with you with that. And Miro isn't like a clean-cut baby face either, so it was kind of a weird dynamic in that aspect anyways. But yeah, both guys needed a win, and it's not like one of them got screwed out of it, so Hobbs just looks like a jabroni now, and he's going to do the same thing he's done the past couple years. He's just going to tread water, and it's not his fault because he's gotten himself in better shape. I feel like his promos have somewhat improved. But for some reason, Tony Khan just does not see it with him, apparently.
And his guy is gone, too. But apparently he was a big Punk guy. So, I don't know. We'll see what they do with him. I will say he did get his heat back by attacking Miro, but
He should have attacked Lotta, too.
Yeah, he did get chased away by a 5'2" blonde white girl, so...
And it went a little long, but up to this point, I must say, this was probably the match of the night, considering everything else that happened before it. So, I mean, not a high bar, but the match itself to me wasn't bad. There was just a lot of factors playing into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Following this was Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho, and I like Chris Statlander.
Yep.
A lot of wrestling this weekend. Mm-hmm. So then we arrived to Ricky Starks versus Bryan Danielson in a strap match.
Okay.
Easily my match of the night in total, including everything. This was really, really good. possibly Stark's best match since he's been in AEW.
Wow.
Danielson versus Punk, because I'm going to assume that Punk was going to be in this spot because that was the rumor floating around. I think that Danielson had a better match with Starks than Punk would have.
Man, you burying Punk now?
No, Danielson is just more. He's a better in-ring wrestler than CM Punk right now. I don't think there's a debate there. Punk has lost a step, athletic-wise, but I still think he's great in the ring. I'm not saying he's washed. I'm just saying he's not as athletic as he used to be.
Isn't it
However,
ironic? Isn't it ironic that Punk took his ball and went home in 2014, and Daniel Bryan had to step up and face the guy that supposedly Punk was going to feud with? And then now, all the way in 2023, that same thing has happened again.
and the same thing kind of happened in Ring of F.
Oh, yeah.
Danielson won the
Yeah.
world title 2 months later.
Yeah, I ain't thinking about that. Yeah.
So it seems to be a recurring theme in Danielson's career, but I'm sure he doesn't mind it because typically he gets much more over coming out of it. But I will say the story kind of was lacking. You hinted to it earlier, but a 1 week build. The Punk match made more sense. Or yeah, one day build.
1 day build.
So I don't know. But as for the scoops, I'll let you start us off since you hadn't had a lot of scoops recently. For Ricky Starks and Bryan Danielson. Well, I'm just saying.
Come on now. I thought it was some brutal looking shots that Bryan Danielson was delivering to Ricky Starks while he was hanging in the tree of woe. I thought that was pretty nice. Added to the brutality of the match. Because he was laying them things in. Like Ricky Starks owed Bryan Danielson some money because he was laying it in. He didn't care about not hitting his face or anything. No, he was just swinging for the fences every single time. I know that junk hurt.
Yeah, he caught him in the face one time because Ricky popped up in his face, and I was like, "Oh God, I couldn't do that, dude. It pissed me off so bad."
And I like that it didn't overstay his welcome. It wasn't a 30-minute kick out fest like a lot of matches are nowadays. This was short, simple, brutal, and I mean, there's really not much else to say. I mean, if you're gonna watch anything out of this pay-per-view, watch this match.
Yeah, some of ours kind of overlap. The scoops I had was I think Starks is 10 times better as a heel than a babyface. He got over in that promo battle with MJF as a babyface, so I think it will come eventually. At this stage in Ricky's career, heel work is leagues above what babyface work is, so he needs to stick to this. And I like what he's doing with Big Bill. I think that can work. Just don't completely stick them to the tag division like they. The match was hard to watch in a good way. You wince, you feel for the guys, you can physically see the damage on their backs, on their faces, on their shoulders, especially when they were slapping each other basically in the face with the strap. I don't know, man. I can't get hit in the face and not just be mad about it. So props to these guys because they beat the dog piss out of each other, and it was very entertaining.
That was a big leather strap too.
Yeah, it was did it seem thicker than most
straps?
Yeah.
Yeah,
strap matches.
Yeah, because the one they had with Drew and Karrion Kross last year, I don't know if it had as much. It didn't look as thick as this one did. This one looked like meaty. Shout out to the Chicago crowd. This looked bad. But oh yeah, and one more thing, we can move on because did we have any? Oh yeah, I had 2 slams for this, but I did like Bryan Danielson coming out to Final Countdown. I did like that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that, but it's a cool moment, and
Good song.
yeah, Tony apparently paid a lot of money.
Well, he saved a lot of money with releasing Punk, so I guess he had enough to spare.
Unless they paid his contract out. The
Well,
last scoop I had was I thought the finish was really good. Starks selling. Legit, like, and I mean, I know the way you can do this, but you could see the veins popping out of his forehead. Like, it looked like he was really fighting and scratching and clawing his way to not give up. And he didn't give up. He just passed flat out. And I don't think there was a better way to end the match personally. And this might be a little spiteful. Everybody on Twitter was like, I would rather see Danielson versus Starks anyways, because Danielson's going to put Starks over, and Punk wouldn't have put him over. Well, now you look stupid, don't you?
that would have made no
Personally,
sense. That would have made no sense, by the way.
you think Ricky going over wouldn't have made any sense?
Not at all. 'Cause, man, he
I
beat
would
up
have rather had him go over.
He beat up an elderly man. Like, you got to get his comeuppance for that.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like Danielson didn't need the win.
And it's like a rule in wrestling that if somebody is a last minute step in for somebody, they always go over. The person substituting is always going to go over.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that, but I just feel like it would have done more for Ricky to win than Danielson. But I mean, yeah, he did beat up an old man and he needed to be reprimanded, so
Speaking of that old man, he was not good on commentary.
honestly, I didn't hear that much of it. Like, that sounded jarringly bad to me.
He was just kind of shaky at times, like losing his train of thought, and, like pausing randomly mid sentence.
Well, he did
Yeah,
have
he's
a brain
old.
bleed.
Yeah, he's old. Okay, yeah. But I don't think he needed to be on commentary here. They should have had him outside like he was for that match that we went to on that collision show with
Yeah.
Punk and Ricky Starks. It should have been doing what he did there. And I know this was a good match, Mike. I'm not going to take anything away from this match. Good strap match. However, this feud has one day build. There was no reason for Brian Danielson, no reason for him to be mad at Ricky Starks. And isn't Brian Danielson still a heel? He came out with the Blackpool Combat Club later. Why would he
if you
care?
ask them,
Why would he care?
I mean, that is a good point, especially after they tried to like murder 3 months.
Yeah.
If you ask him, he's not one or the
God.
other.
Oh, God. I just hang out with serial killers. I'm not a serial killer myself.
I mean, I agree, because to me, you don't. Yes, there are some people like this in shows, whatever. But, like, for the most part, at its very core, a TV show, a movie, whatever, has good guys and it has bad guys. And especially if, I don't know, if Thanos is hanging out with Iron Man and Spider-Man and Captain America, I'm gonna guess that Thanos is probably a good guy. So for, Danielson to like be hanging out with people and are gonna beat the absolute crap out of God no, not a main event, but like one of your top baby faces in the main event of All Out, and you're walking out with him, but yet you're gonna like beat up Ricky Starks. That just doesn't make any sense. So I agree with you with that, and they've been doing that crap with Danielson since he came in. A lot of people are hyped about the way Danielson is gonna book Collision.
He can't do no worse than Tony Khan, so I give him a shot.
Well, you got a point there, but
Hey,
I'm sorry.
his mentor is cooking on Wednesday nights.
Wait, huh?
His mentor,
Who are you
Shawn
talking about?
Michaels. Shawn Michaels.
Oh, he's on Tuesday nights.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I get what day NXT airs. I'm sorry. It aired on Wednesday nights for almost a decade. Give me a break.
It did. I was a little confused. I thought you were talking about Sean, but I was like, was Tony his mentor? But I don't know. I feel like Danielson gives in to his worst impulses, and I think that his character arc of not being a babyface or heel, and I think that's the way they all view the Black Combat Club is like they're not babyfaces or heels. They're just dope guys who just love to fight and beat up people. Like I think that's what they're going for, and I think Danielson gives into that way too much.
And they practice death jitsu,
Oh
whatever
god.
that is. Whatever that is.
Yeah. Can somebody explain what that is to me? What do? You fight to the death? Do you kill each other? Who knows? But I thought the match was really good, and it was. Yeah, you
Train.
got a couple nitpicks, but overall, really good.
Yeah.
Next up, we were speaking
Oh
of a man
my.
without a brain, Tony Khan. We got to the man who had his brain moved.
Oh.
I don't even know who they faced. I just wrote this was the Shibata match, and you
It,
know what?
it was I don't know his first name. I'm not even being funny, Mike. I don't know Shibata's first name,
I
but
want to say it's like Katsuyori.
okay, yeah. And Eddie Kingston versus Cesaro and Wheeler Yuta.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
What did Shannon call Stephen A the other day accidentally?
He called him Skip. Skip.
Thank you. Now on to the next match. We had Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah.
This one actually has a storyline that was built for more than a day,
Okay.
and it was going to take you 3 days to watch.
Mm.
For the scoops, I think this is one of the better Kenny matches in terms of things making sense in the beginning. He wasn't just like spamming.
Oh, well, hold up there, buddy.
Well, yeah, we're
We
getting
got
there. But at the beginning, at least, there was some, some holds, some moves. They weren't going absolutely nuts, like he did in that Vikingo match, or how he has a tendency to. However, they were going to go 30 minutes, so I guess you can't stay on the gas 24/7. And Takeshita would pick up the win here. I think that's for the best because I don't think Kenny needs it. However, Takeshita's music sucks so bad. If it even
yeah.
is music, it just sounds like what you would imagine like an alien spaceship landing 50 feet in your yard with.
Yeah, it's very weird. Very
It,
weird.
is it even? It's just whoa whole time. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's definitely the crowd can't sing along to it, so I guess that's what they were going for because he's a heel, but there's like legit no reaction when it plays on the intercom.
So I think that and the fact that I guess because Takeshita beat him in London, people expected Kenny to win, but
I did too. Yeah.
I mean, I did, but it just killed the crowd again. Like, do people not care about Takeshita, or do you think it's the music, or do you just think that it's because he beat Kenny?
Maybe a combination of all three and the fact that they spammed so many moves in this match, Micah, that they
Well,
probably expected Kenny to kick out of this. And then when it didn't happen, everybody's going, oh, so that's the finish? Oh, okay.
it's kind of like what happened in London too, because he just won't like roll up.
Yeah. It very surprising outcome. That's my only scoop for the match.
That's
I
fair.
didn't exactly look at my phone throughout. I mean, it was it was there.
I just don't. Kenny is a lot better by himself. I'll give him that. But
Yeah.
I don't find myself ever enthralled with matches like I was in the match before. Not the Shibata match, the Daniels match. And I think maybe it had a hard spot to kind of follow that.
Yeah. Takeshita looked good.
He's really good. And I think Callis is doing good manager work. But I don't see him being like a major player just because it seems like the crowd does not care about him at all.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but why would you? Why would you care? This whole feud has been about Kenny and Don. I mean, Kesha is kind of just tag along.
He's just a heavy at this point.
Yeah, give him the Nakamura sit down interviews.
Hey, I wouldn't hate that.
I mean, you need something.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a really, really good wrestler. Probably the best they have, or at least top 3. But he's not gonna get over doing that. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
I'm actually shocked to hear you say that. I didn't know you thought that highly of him.
No, he's impressive in the ring. He can do a lot of the moves, and he looks like an athlete. He's a big dude. You know,
Yeah,
you
he
don't.
really is.
Yeah, you look at like Nakamura and Okada; those guys are all big guys. And then you compare them to the other Japanese jabronis they got. The what's the old grandpa they got
Oh man.
that no sells everything, has no knee pads. What's his
Which
name?
one? They got like 3.
Oh, come on. God dang, I don't know.
Suzuki.
Yeah, Suzuki.
There's
He's like
another one
5.
though.
Well, no, not the bald one, but Suzuki.
Oh,
You talking
okay.
about the bald one, right? Is that who you were talking
Well,
about?
Suzuki has like flames up his head. The other one, yeah, is bald, but I can't remember his name either.
I don't know. But yeah, those guys look small in comparison of the Keshta here. He looks like an athlete. I'll give him that. And he can do a lot of moves, do a lot of cool moves.
Well, they look
But he's
like
got go ahead.
the
Go
other
ahead.
2 look like when you put something in the microwave rings.
What is that guy's name?
I don't know. It's pissing me off because I can't think of it. There's Suzuki, and they're like somebody's screaming right now. Listen.
They call him like a pit bull or something, right? Stone pit bull.
Oh,
Uh,
man, I'm struggling so bad.
uh,
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
what's that guy's name? Oh, Ishii.
Yeah,
Tomohiro
Ishii. How
Yeah,
could I
that
ever
guy.
forget?
Yeah, that jabroni. Who we ever beat. But yeah. And let me ask you something, Micah. I know we talked about this earlier, but what was gonna be Don Callis's plan when he stabbed Kenny Omega in the eye with that screwdriver? Was he planning on going to prison afterwards? Because it was right there on camera.
I guess it's.
Was he gonna like get pinned after that? Was the match gonna be over? Or
Can you imagine Takeshi? Like he's got the screwdriver stuck through his skull, and Takeshi just like pulls his feet in and pins him. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yep.
all fake. Why do we care?
I'm surprised that Excalibur didn't laugh at it when he saw the screwdriver in the mat. He probably
Props
did.
to Excalibur for holding in your laughter for once, you sorry announcer. For oh my god, I didn't even think about that, but I'm actually shocked that he didn't. Oh my god, Don Callis with a screwdriver.
Look at it sticking in the mat like that.
I can't stand him, man. I know we keep circling back to this, but like,
We hate him. He's the worst commentator in wrestling.
whoa,
We
Kevin
hate you,
Patrick
Rick.
still exists.
Oh, okay. Well, he's just a spoken English fella. He doesn't really. He's on SmackDown. They buried him away. I mean, this guy, he's prevalent on almost all their shows. There's no excuses.
You
Us
think
here at Scoop
Excalibur
Slam.
goes to
Huh?
Collision now?
Oh my God, I will never watch Collision again if that happens.
Well, Kevin Kelly is apparently not going to be there anymore.
Dang, when that happened?
I saw it somewhere on Twitter. It was his Twitter, but he said he wasn't going to do Collision, pulling back on some of the New Japan dates because his wife is just kind of tired of him being on the road for so many years.
That's fair. Hopefully he stays there.
They better put Ian Riccaboni on there. If they put Excalibur, that show's dead.
Hey, he put Samoa Joe back on commentary. He was good.
Oh, come on. He better in the ring. But anyways, as for Don Callis's murder plot, I honestly don't know. I don't think they think any of that crap through because it's all just performance theater and everybody knows it's fake. Let's just do what we think is cool, and nobody will put any prior thought into the fact that, a screwdriver that stabbed into the mat of the ring would kill somebody, and Don Callis should be arrested for attempted murder. But no.
Would it be so hard to just use brass knuckles instead? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think people are gonna hear this and y'all are being way too hard about it. It's not that deep. It's not real. I understand that. Why does the screwdriver have to come into effect? Could he not have sprayed something in his eyes? Could he not have used brass knuckles? I mean, there's tons of ways in wrestling that people have gotten over crap in the past. But no, instead it would look cool to stab a screwdriver in the ring and then camera shot and I'll look all shocked into the camera. Garbage. As for the slams, I'll let you go ahead.
Oh boy. Let me look at my notes. What we got? Well, I think you put it better than I did on this format here. Kenny Omega, I'm saying. Kenny Omega's matches always devolve into kick out and knee strikes, which I completely agree with. It was way too much finisher, kick out, finisher, no sell, finisher, kick out at one, finisher. I didn't like that, man. I don't think you need that to make a great match.
Kenny legit builds his matches based off video games. I'm not even trying to be funny, but seriously, there's this slow build where they're charging up, and then at the end, they just all of their finishers that they built up over the match, and then. But Kenny, you would think that he only has one finisher because he hits or at least attempts 18 V triggers every single match. It's a cool looking move, but when a guy gets hit with it 4 times and he still won't go down, that's not speaking to that's speaking to the lack that you can't hit a knee good.
Yeah.
He's got one protective finish. Everything else, it's spammed.
Yeah. You'll kick out of it at one. Why do they do that? Why do they kick out at one? Does it show the warrior spirit that they can just kick out at one because after a burning hammer through a flaming table to the outside? I don't know. We're a little cranky on this show right now, Micah. It's late, so I don't know, man. I don't like that.
I mean, I honestly didn't hate this Kenny match as much as I've hated others, and he's 10 times better by himself than with the Elite. But That combined with the fact to me that this match was way too long. For a 4-hour pay-per-view, one match should not be an eighth of that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
When it's
I
not
agree.
a main event or an insane feud, that's crazy. This should not have been 30 minutes. It went too long, and every Kenny match is great to me 75% through. And then when they start doing the bull crap with the V triggers and the top rope blue thunder bombs and Kenny kicks out, you lose me.
Yeah, I had that wrote down as one of my slams, but I thought I was being too rough on the match, so I didn't write it down.
No, I did the same thing. Funny enough, I wrote it down and took it off because
I'm being a little too hard on this, but it
is that
looked
not
cool.
his finish though? And he took it off the top rope and he just kicked out.
Yeah, it looked cool, but yeah, he kicked out.
So yeah, screw you, Takeshita. Your finish that don't work for me, brother.
Off the top rope, it don't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's an AEW champ or former AEW world champ, but daggum, dude, what do you have to do to beat the guy?
Maybe you should have stabbed him. Maybe he would have. Maybe it'd been easier to pin him then.
Maybe Don did have the right idea. We're just jabronis.
Yeah.
We'll move on real quick because this match was here.
Yep.
Frankly, all I've got to say about it. FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Bullet Club Gold. My scoop was that I thought the crowd helped this. I just felt uninterested because I don't like the Bucks and they mean less ever have. What about this got me interested? The Bullet Club Gold is a tad bit overused right now, and I would like a week or two where they're not on the show for 30 minutes at a time. And then, especially with the Punk news, FTR and the Bucks being together was weird. And it just...
Yeah.
something didn't click. And mainly that's within my slams. First, the Bucks wearing the Brawl Out gear from last year. Childish. That's why you can't have real stars in your company, because you don't want to be adults. And he needs to prove himself for 6 months before we can talk to him. Even though we hold an office position and somebody's paying us millions of dollars here. Get over yourself. And next, just too much of the Buck-isms. The 4-way sharpshooter in the ring and nobody's getting to go out. The stand in the ring and punch, and Rick Knox was the ref, so there really was no ref.
Did you see Matt Jackson overshot on the moonsault, and then Juice still had to sell it?
No, I actually didn't catch it.
You know that little thing they do where they jump out to the apron and they do a moonsault?
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't look back when they do it because the guy's just standing there waiting for him.
Well, he should have looked back because he missed them completely. And Juice just fell down, even though one of the Bucks just went right over him. I think one of the Bucks was kind of shook because they were getting booed so much from the Chicago crowd, but I don't know. It just this. I don't think I had anything wrote down for this, Micah. This felt like a Collision main event. I mean, it could have been on Collision. It was there.
But would it have even been the main event? Who knows?
Well, they had FTR. They had FTR.
Yeah,
Bullet
and
Club
I like
Gold
FTR.
is the main event. Bullet Club Gold is the main event every week.
Well, you got a point there. I don't know. I like FTR, but like honest, this whole Punk situation, I didn't love the Bucks before, but I could tolerate them. I genuinely do not care to see the Young Bucks on my television ever again.
Dang.
No, I mean I'm just being honest. Like, I'm past the point now of ever thinking podcast is media pass, because I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. I'm not gonna be nice and say good things about somebody because I want them to be friends with us. I'm gonna tell it how I see it, and I think that yes, Punk is abrasive, and yeah, he is probably not the easiest person to deal with. However, I don't think the Bucks are either. I think they have a fake persona that they're these little nice guys who never do anything wrong. And they're just doing their little skits on their YouTube show. And that's why all their fans want to sit there and coddle them like they're 15 years old. They're grown men. They hold an executive vice president position of a purported $2 billion company, according to Forbes. And, oh, you know the guy that's selling your most merch by double? Oh, you know the guy that has sold you out multiple stadiums, who did your first $1 million gate, who pretty much got you your Saturday show, and that's out of Tony and Punk. Oh, yeah, let's just, screw him. He's got to prove himself to us.
He's a cancer.
Yeah. What, honest to God, what have the Young Bucks done for the business?
For their business, AEW, or for the wrestling business?
No, for the wrestling business as a whole. Because everybody wants to say, and especially the Young Bucks do, because they love to rub it in the face of FT, we started this company. How much of that was an initial investment? Because I'm pretty sure Tony Khan is the one that forked up $100 million to start. But, the guy who might want to make a return investment on his product, oh, no, screw him. We don't want to work with this guy.
Yeah, and even the pay-per-view, the first All-In that they had, they didn't fund that. ROH funded everything. The pay-per-view, like the rings, everything there. I mean, everything was ROH. But they choose to spread that narrative that it was all them. They took a chance and they sold out 10,000 people in Chicago for an indie show. But yeah, man, what the Bucks have done for the business is polluted with super kick spam and bad comedy from their YouTube show and a legion of blind followers that will disparage you and chastise you if you dare say anything bad about the Young Bucks or Adam Page or Kenny Omega. And yeah, man, they're probably one of the most annoying fan bases in the business. And that's just how it is.
Yep. And I understand that they were founding members. So, sure, I'm sure they were very integral to the creation of AEW. But at the end of the day, if Tony Khan never came up to $100 million, they'd still be doing indie shots in New Japan and whatever would be left of Ring of Honor. So,
And PWG on the weekends.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I will never take the Young Bucks serious as main event talent. And I don't care what anybody says, they are not on a tag team Mount Rushmore.
No.
I don't care if, and sure, they've created jobs, they've made an alternative, and I appreciate that AEW, or I appreciate what AEW has become. But at this point, with the whole Punk thing, it's just ridiculous. It should have never came to this. But no, here we are. It's 2023, 2 years after Punk's debut, or re-debut to wrestling, and he's gone because they couldn't sit down and talk something.
Yeah.
And boy, if I didn't get enough of a rant out right there, the main event of All Out 2023 was Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the National Championship.
All right.
Where do we begin?
Let me preface this by saying I loved Dean Ambrose in the Shield.
Yeah, that's probably the only positive that's going to be said about him.
It pains me, man. It pains me. That was my guy.
Scoops. There are none.
No.
Slams. Let's open up the floor.
Oh, God. To you, I have nothing.
I don't blame you for writing nothing, because at this point, it felt like most of what I began to write was fairly negative, and yes, the fact that it is 110 also Bucks rant, because the fact that I'll never see CM Punk wrestle in AEW again makes me fighting mad, and I have zero desire to see them on Dynamite. This match could not be less appealing. Maybe somebody out there likes it. I do not. This is a Dynamite main event through and through. This is a Rampage main event. It looked like a stepdad beating his 16-year-old who stayed out past curfew. Jon Moxley looks like a man, and Orange Cassidy looks like a kid.
Yeah.
You don't realize how small he is until he's in there with somebody who actually made it to a big stage. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like a child in there.
So let's go ahead, because apparently Orange Cassidy is the strongest wrestler of all time. Stronger than Mick Foley and Bruiser Brody and
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman, Darby Allin, and everybody online just, oh my God, he's main event material. He took a pile driver after he was already bleeding buckets. Easy kick out at 2, right?
Oh, yeah.
Another pile driver. Guess what? Kick out.
No. What? You're kidding.
Yeah, I mean, he just, you might see him walk on water next at this point. The Death Rider kick out.
No, surely he didn't kick out of that, Mike.
Oh, just wait. Death Rider kick out, and he just lazily throws his shoulder. Because Jon Moxley's not on him, or wrestling's not fake at all. It's just, it's so real that I can just, there's my shoulder coming up.
Well, Michael, that's character development. That's what he is. He's lazy, and he does lazy kickouts, and he does lazy kicks. You didn't like that?
Some can call it lazy. Some can call it stupid and showing everybody that it's all fake. And
of course,
he could
we
keep
can laugh
kicking out. Yeah, we can laugh at this.
Yeah, he can kick out of 1, just no sell it. Whatever. Who cares? It's fake. Let's do a Canadian Destroyer. Let's do it back to back.
Yeah, that happened on Dynamite.
Sell that too.
So yeah, I wrote the Death Rider kick out, and they made it lazy. Yes, just please slap me in the face with the fact that wrestling is fake a little hard. Moxley sucks so bad. He thinks he is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's not. He thinks he's Terry Funk, and he's not. No. I'm about to rip him a new one.
Come on.
He comes out there. I don't know if they're cargo pants. They look like jogger sweatpants with embroidered down the side. He looks like he just crawled out of a gutter pipe out of Cincinnati and walked to the arena. And then he does those awful stomps to the face. They don't look real. His punches look horrible. And then he just stands there and is like, oh, hit me. I like punching. I can take it. His character work is garbage. He cannot cut a promo without sounding like the fakest person in the room. And he sucks. He beat the piss out of Orange Cassidy for 20 minutes. Orange Cassidy then proceeds to just punch him 8 million punch and kicks out for 35 minutes because he is invincible. He's like 150 pounds. He's the smallest guy on the roster. And he just kicks out of everything. And everybody online was like, oh, his reign was so great. Everybody doubted Orange Cassidy as a great wrestler. How? Because he can do moves? Is he telling a story? Is any of his stories good at all?
Micah, you're telling me right now, with a straight face, that this guy, Orange Cassidy, did not have a better reign than Roman Reigns? Are you telling me that right now?
Anybody, I'm gonna say something real quick. Anybody who thinks Roman Reigns has a worse reign than Orange Cassidy does not need access to social media or the public.
Yeah. That's their guy, man. They're standing with their guy. You know what? I know you just buried Moxley. I loved him in the Shield. I can't say anything bad about him. It pains me. What have they done to my boy? What have they done to him?
What they done? He's done it to himself. It's all him. Man.
Well, you said you hang out with the bad crowd and you become a product of your environment, and he's that in AEW. He was so good in the Shield, Micah. Do you not remember the Shield, the fist bump, the triple power bomb? You like the Shield?
I like Seth the best, but Roman ended up being the winner out of that one.
Never thought I'd say that, but yeah, I think you're right.
But move over Roman, because Cassidy is just the future of this business. I will go out on a limb, and this is my final thought, because I was disgusted by this main event.
Dang.
I'm serious. I watched it and I was like, I enjoyed nothing about this.
Jeez.
Because everybody online was like, oh my God, this feels like the heart of AEW again. Well, if that's the heart of AEW, it's failing pretty soon, because that was garbage. The pay-per-view sucked pond water. And I'll go out on a limb and say this, the last thing I'll say about this match, and either of these trash cans. If Orange Cassidy becomes a world champion in AEW, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's it. You and your friend Mark are not going to watch anymore, right?
Yeah, me and my friend Mark are not going to watch anymore.
All right. That's fair. Well, so final rating for the pay-per-view.
4.5.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I go with that too. I go 4.3 just to be difficult.
The Danielson match was good.
I like that. Yeah,
I liked Miro and Hobbs. Everything else did not need to be watched by any public consumption. Kenny and Takeshita was okay if it stopped at like 23 minutes, but you add another 7 on there and it becomes every Kenny match ever. No.
Yeah, I'll probably never go back and watch any of these matches besides the strap match.
Yep. And it made me more mad because I expected this pay-per-view to be bad. And everybody online to be like, this might be a top 3 AEW pay-per-view of all time. And then I had to go and watch it.
Yeah.
But I feel better now. I feel like I've cleansed myself of this spirit.
Oh, yeah. You're hot about it.
I am hot about it. I'm hot about both things, because to me AEW it's not what I want it to be anymore. It's never, because to me the talent there that I like happens to be Punk guys, and they're not going to get pushed. Well, so I guess I'm out of the bandwagon.
Oh man, jumped off.
I talked myself into it, because I still was like, maybe, and then
brother, I told you the tide was changing when Mr. Cody Rhodes showed up at WrestleMania. I told you.
And that little picture of the dude crying, and he's got his
oh no,
his fist up with like the WWE merch. Yeah, that's gonna be me. If Punk comes back at the Rumble, I'm locked in. I'm all in, baby, and I ain't talking about in London.
Welcome back, man.
I don't know. Okay, and we'll kill it after this. Did you feel the same way about this pay-per-view? Am I being like too harsh?
No, it was not bro. I didn't write anything for like 4 matches. No, it was there. It felt like Dynamite with no commercials. I mean, finisher kick out fest, matches that didn't have much build. and a main event that I personally did not want to see. And yeah, man, John Moxley is the international champion when his two other, former brothers are world champions. It's just, oh man. No, I agree with you. Pay per view happened. It was there. It was not a good one. And yeah, I preferred the one that happened last week in AEW All In.
Yep, very much so. And
Yeah.
again, for people to prop it up on Twitter and say it was so great, and then I had to go back and watch it, and the character development of Orange Cassidy, and he's advanced so far, and this reign was so good. It pisses me off because it sucks so bad. And I guess I'm in the minority, but you know what? We'll keep being that way on the podcast because I'm not going to lie to or have people on the show.
What they pull this clip when we got like 4 million followers.
Hey, well, if that's how it is, so be it.
Oh man.
But either way, check us out. Twitter, Instagram, all the social media. It's at scoopslammedpod. We got an Audible membership that is at the top of our link tree. It's linktr.ee/scoopslammedpod. Get you a free month of Audible Premium Plus. Find all our socials there. Find our YouTube. Find our other links to listen to us on any other platforms if you're moving from Spotify or anything like that. On the social medias, we will post predictions. Sometimes we post when we have a new upload. And sometimes I do live reaction. I guess I got so worked up, I'm losing my voice. Sometimes we do live reactions about the pay-per-view, the TV shows that are happening. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. But I got pretty hot about things, and I think I went on like a 30-minute tirade. But we'll be back next week. We'll talk about CM Punk's release. We'll talk about some wrestling from the TV shows that we missed. And in the meantime, stay safe. Have a good one.